Hey, folks, give us like 5 minutes. We'll get started.
Hello, this is Amy St. Peter with MAG. The person who's online with the phone number with the last digits of 3656, can you please unmute and let us know who you are, please, for the purpose of quorum?
Mayor Schultz.
Thank you, Mayor Schoaf. Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the MAG Regional Council meeting for January 25th, 2023 to order. For those around the table, please turn on your microphones when speaking. For those participating in the room and via Zoom, please state your name when making a comment or a question. It really does help the team understand who's making the motion, who's making the second. But if you can remember to do that, that'd be great. As a reminder, the MAG public comment process allows members of the public to comment on items on today's agenda or on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction. If you'd like to comment at today's meeting, please fill out a white request to speak card located on the information table in the hallway and give it to MAG staff. If you parked in the garage, parking validators are available on the information table, in the hallway. If you purchased a transit ticket to come to the meeting, please see staff for a ticket. Hearing assisted devices are available from MAG staff. Do you guys mind doing roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I will go down the list of members alphabetically. Please unmute and indicate your attendance. Mayor Beck.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Bien Wilner. Thank you. President Burnett. Mayor Crane.
Here.
Thank you. Ms. Daniels. Here. Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Giles.
Here.
Thank you. Supervisor Goodman. Mayor Hall.
Here.
You. Mayor Hartke.
Here.
Thank you. President Javier.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Here.
Thank you. Supervisor Hickman. Mayor LaVault. Governor Roe Lewis. Mr. Meck. Mayor Molina.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Morris.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Ortega.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Pizzillo.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Rodriguez. Mayor Schoaf.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Sykes.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Smith.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Walter. Mayor Wires.
I'm here.
Thank you. Chair Wise.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Wheatley.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Woods. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a quorum.
Thank you for that. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Chip Wilson?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor, for leading us. Before I begin with the next item, I do want to recognize some familiar faces who are back with us. Tommy, good to see you, sir. And some new members. John Crane from the town of Carefree, Robert Morris from the town of Cave Creek, Tommy from the town of Gila Bend, Jason from the city of Peoria. Jason, how are you, sir? And Julia Wheatley from the town of Queen Creek. Good to see you again. In welcoming Mayor Sykes, I would like to recognize and thank former Mayor Chris Riggs for his service to the MAG Regional Council on behalf of the town of Gila Bend, and we wish him all the best. Item number 3 is call to the audience. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction or on the agenda. 15 minutes will be provided for the call of the audience agenda item unless the committee requests an exception to this limit. I have one card. Ms. Barker? Good to see you, ma'am.
Thank you, Chairman Weiss. It's good to see you and Mag Mayors. And it is a glorious, sunny, kind of nippy day, but it's one you'll remember back in July. And I was just wondering, those of you that came, you probably today, the traffic, you probably experienced a pretty good ride, right? It will change. It's like when I lived in Dallas and worked for Travelers Insurance, we would say, if you don't like the weather, it's about ready to change. And just like the traffic, because we're nearing the Super Bowl. And already I see coming over here, you know, people that are 3 deep walking on sidewalks and so forth. And they're planning on not having as many cars downtown, but now we're going to have people on bicycles. I got cut off today by a bicyclist that could care less that he was like an inch passing fast by me. And it scared me. And I said, hey, and so he flipped the bird at me. So we're going to be having that kind. And all I could think is karma. You know, I was thinking about following to see in the next 2 blocks what would happen, but I decided to come here. And speaking about the Super Bowl, there's a lot of plans, and I'm sure that you're privy to some information that I haven't received, but as a public, I can let you know that our block watches, I participate downtown in it, and I went to Central meeting with the police department yesterday, and we learned a lot from Homeland Security. And I have on my phone now, and you may have this number, and this is to report any threats or emergencies. You can call 1-877-429-8477. And that is like the AZ tips on that. And, you know, we spoke about human smuggling and human trafficking because they're expecting all that. And they said that the average person that's being trafficked is 14, yes, and more of them are women. And they're people that are, you know, chided into like favoritism or clothes or money or whatever. And we really need to, look out for this and our youth. And there's so many myths about all of this, that it's just coming between foreign countries. We're going to have problem, probably out at the airport, because it doesn't require crossing an international border. And again, human smuggling and human traffic aren't necessarily the same thing, but we need to take care of things and watch out for people in our youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. I know Mayor Hartke, you're going to comment on the human trafficking issue in opening statements at the end of the meeting, so we look forward to that. Item number 4 is the Executive Director's Report. Amy St. Peters is here. Eric, Amy?
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I have a few brief updates for you on Eric's behalf. He sends his regrets for not being able to be here with you today at this point in the meeting. Next slide, please. In November, members of Regional Council, including Chair Weiss, Mayor Orsborn, and Governor Lewis, attended a luncheon in honor of Mexican Ambassador Esteban Moctezuma. Members of other MAG committees were also at the event, along with MAG staff. The event highlighted the importance of Arizona-Mexico economic ties and the importance of cross-border infrastructure developments. I'd like to thank Supna for her role in this event. Please do see here if you have any questions about this. Next slide, please. Years ago, the Regional Analytics Division created Maplet in partnership with REDON Arizona. Since that time, this has become an incredibly important tool to understand more deeply data surrounding early literacy and to be able to take more strategic action as a result of having that understanding. The second version, then, we're very excited to announce, expands the functionality and the data within this online mapping tool. Maplet continues to be a team effort. In particular, I'd like to give special thanks to MAG staff Vern, Maggie, Joe, and Jack for their work on this effort. Please do reach out to Anubhav and his team if you have any questions. Next slide, please. MAG continues to be recognized for excellence in a number of diverse areas, including education and transportation. Our work with connected vehicle data was recently recognized as a national best practice from the Federal Highway Administration. You can access that report at the link shown on the screen. And in addition, our work was featured very prominently and throughout the recent Transportation Research Board conference. This is a national event that draws thousands of people from all over the country. It's really seen as the premier transportation conference, and our work was very much front and center at that event. You'll see that our staff presented a number of times throughout the conference. If you'd like additional information on any of these topics, these presentations, please do reach out to Vladimir and his team. Next slide, please. We're very proud to announce our transportation efforts also received very positive feedback during our recent certification review that was jointly conducted by the Federal Highway Administration and the Federal Transit Administration. This transportation planning process review is required of all major urbanized areas greater than 200,000 people at least every 4 years. During the review, we featured our progress in diverse areas such as transportation planning, environmental planning, fiscal services, and human services transportation. We're excited to share that we did not receive any findings. We had a very clean review. We did receive a number of commendations, such as those, as you'll see featured here on the screen. Our staff work hard to earn such positive feedback and to serve you in the best way possible as your metropolitan planning organization. Please do contact us for any questions about this review process. Next slide, please. And then moving into our final update for today, we'd like to thank all of you. Your street count coordinators did an incredible amount of work yesterday. We had more than 1,500 volunteers registered for that event. This is a required part of our annual application to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It gives us a lot of really good data, providing that snapshot in time. We use that data to supplement with other data sources, such as a homeless management information system. But without your street count coordinators, we could not undertake this count. So thank you very much. The count was conducted using an app developed by our own regional analytics team, and that's helped the process run much more smoothly. And we're able to get more accurate data as a result of that. Next slide, please. Would like to thank Mayor Weiss. We kept his dance card full with a number of interviews, including local outlets as well as the New York Times. You may have seen some of the extensive coverage of the event, and they were all over the Valley for that. Would also like to thank Kelly Taft and her communications team for all of their help with coordinating the media for that event. It was significant, and that was bilingual in Spanish as well as English. We want to extend deep gratitude to Kelly Williams, Katie Gentry, and Michelle, and the whole Human Services team for coordinating this regional count on behalf of all of our local member agencies. If you'd like any additional information about the count, please do contact Kelly Williams. We're eager to share the results with you, but we'll be able to do that probably in the March, April timeframe because we want to make sure that it's accurate and that we have a chance to coordinate very closely with your street count coordinators on that. And you'll see a few pictures of those experiencing homelessness right here. We do want to thank you as well for your continued support of Pathways Home, our regional homelessness action plan. This count and the plan would not be possible without your support, and we're committed to continuing to partner with you to address this very serious issue that is present throughout our region. That concludes the report for today. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Amy on this issue? The homeless point in time obviously was valley-wide yesterday, and the media was very open to hearing suggestions and comments. And for me, it falls down into three main areas, and that was housing, substance abuse, and mental health. And how do we get help either on a state level or on a federal level? And hopefully it went well for all your cities. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Item number 5 is approval of the consent agenda. Before I get there, I want to take a moment and just thank a couple of members of our team. The MAG team is special in a lot of ways, but there's 2 people who have been out there, one especially who have been taking the arrows of Prop 400. And I want to recognize Audra and John Bullen. John was in front of the committee on Monday, second time, and I was watching it via online, and I wanted to crawl through my computer. But John did an incredible job of keeping things focused and on balance. And if you don't have a chance, what I've asked Amy from now on to get us updates on Friday and on Monday. So if we know there's going to be a subcommittee or a committee meeting, we have the chance to kind of watch it, take notes, kind of do those things. And I sent the person who was questioning John an email after that, very nice email, but an email nonetheless. So John, thank you for everything and taking the arrows for this committee. Appreciate it. Number 5 is consent agenda. Are there any members of the committee who wish to have an item removed from consent agenda for separate consideration? Seeing and hearing none. Are there any members of the public? Do you have any cards on this issue at all? Okay. Can I get a motion on items 5A through 5K? Have a second? I have a motion from Mayor Wheatley, a second from Ms. Daniels. Please do roll call. I'm sorry. All those in favor in the room say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I will go through the members participating virtually. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Crane.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Molina.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Ortega.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Schoaf.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Woods.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone that I missed? Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you all. Amy, do you mind introducing item number 6, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and we want to provide you with information about this so that we can support your efforts. Here to present today is Kelly Williams, MAG Human Services Director, and DC Ernst with Phoenix Fire Department. Kelly?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the MAG Regional Council for your time today. The purpose of this presentation is to share information about activities related to honoring February as Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month, and to invite your participation in these activities, and to offer a resolution today recommended for your approval. Joining me today is Dolores DC Ernst, Vice Chair of the MAG Regional Domestic Violence Council and Chair of the Teen Dating Violence Prevention Work Group. Vice Chair Ernst also serves as Program Administrator in the Community Assistance Program with the City of Phoenix. Next slide, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Teen dating violence profoundly impacts lifelong health, opportunity, and well-being. Unhealthy relationships start early and can last a lifetime. The good news is violence is preventable and we can all help young people to grow up in a violent-free environment.
Next slide, please. In partnership with Bloom 365, a local nonprofit, we will be providing a series of webinars set up for youth, parents, and those who work with youth. Each webinar will include a teen survivor of teen dating violence. The timing of these webinars was scheduled to allow students to participate after school hours.
Let's see, I'll talk louder. Data from the CDC Youth Risk Behavior Survey finds that 1 in 12 high school students experience physical and sexual dating violence. Female students experience a higher rate of dating violence in comparison to their male peers. And those who identify as LGBTQ experience higher rates compared to students who identify as heterosexual.
Next slide, please. The good news is there are protective factors available. Community risks and protective factors are critical because it makes it less likely for entire communities to suffer from violence. Often a community experiences an overwhelming number of risk factors without an equal balance of protective factors. This means families and children living in some communities may be at higher risk, including high poverty, unemployment, and crime. We are working with families and children in these communities to hopefully reduce the rates of violence related to both teen dating violence and domestic violence.
The Teen Dating Violence Prevention Group is working with local stakeholders and schools to try to teach students about what emotional abuse looks like and how to prevent it from happening. We encourage your support of this proclamation for February and request your help in getting the word out about this important webinar series. Thank you.
So how can you help? A few things, a few ideas at the city and tribal levels. Get your library involved. Make sure your libraries know about these webinars. Share the press release that's set to come out tomorrow. We'll make sure you all have a copy with your first responders and make sure that they are also aware of the webinar series, and your school districts. Make sure that they know that this is happening. We are really looking forward to making sure that everyone is aware that these webinars are occurring. And if you have youth councils at your municipal level, we would really encourage their participation as well. Next slide, please. This item is for action for recommended approval of the resolution honoring February as Teen Dating Violence Prevention Month. The resolution is available with the materials in today's meeting. We're available for any questions about the resolutions or any other part of this presentation you may have. Thank you for your support. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you both for that. Are there any members who have any questions or comments on this issue? Hearing and seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
Oh, so move. Second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did.
Chip, thank you. We have a motion from Mayor Wilson, a second from Mayor Harkey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Do you mind doing the online roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I will go down the list of members participating virtually. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Crane.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Molina.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Ortega.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Schoaf.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Woods. Mayor Woods. Is there anyone that I missed? Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. Amy, will you introduce item number 7, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Item number 7 is for the Regional Council Executive Committee Treasurer and at-large member vacancy. This item is on the agenda for approval. As a result of recent elections, the treasurer position for the MAG Regional Council Executive Committee has become vacant. The treasurer position will be filled by way of ascending order. The most senior member is currently Mayor Kevin Harkey with the City of Chandler. 4 letters of interest for the at-large positions were received from the following members: Mayor Jenny Dickey, Town of Fountain Hills; Mayor Bridget Peterson, Town of Gilbert; Mayor Nancy Smith, City of Maricopa; and Mayor Pereira, Town of Wickenburg. Please do note that Mayor Dickey, Mayor Smith, and Mayor Pereira have withdrawn their letters of interest. If the practice of geographic balance is applied, the seat would be filled by an East Valley representative. Are there any questions or comments from the membership?
Anyone? So what I've asked going forward is when there's any openings on any committees, that the precursor to that email is kind of, this is filling a East Valley seat, a West Valley seat, or a Central District seat. And that kind of gives everyone an idea of where those choices have to come from. I think right now, sometimes it's kind of up in the air. We're not sure. We see an opening. We all want to serve and we jump in. But going forward, I think we're going to do that. And I think it just helps everyone in that matter. Mayor Harkey, any comments?
Thank you, sir. I would like to make a motion. And I understand that others have submitted interest from the towns mentioned. However, I would like to, they've also withdrawn and are indicating their support for Mayor Peterson. So therefore, I do move to nominate Mayor Peterson to serve as the at-large member on the MAG Regional Council Executive Committee and myself for the treasurer position.
Second.
I have a motion from Mayor Harkey, a second from Mayor Pizzillo. Is that correct, Joe? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Please do roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I'll go down the list of those participating virtually. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Crane.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Molina.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Ortega.
Present.
Thank you.
Wait,
Mayor
I meant yes. Yes.
Mayor. Mayor Pereira.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Yes, and thank you all very much. I wish I could be there in person for this vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Schoaf.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Woods. Is there anyone that I missed? Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes.
Thank you, Bridget. Did I hear that you're baking cookies and brownies for the committee next month?
I will bring you whatever you want, Chairman. You name it. But I will have to be from Gilbert because I shop local.
Brownies and cookies, I think, are delicious. That's fine.
Okay.
Amy, item
Thank
number.
So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. We have Audra Kessler-Thomas here to present on the locally preferred alternative for the Valley Metro Light Rail Transit Capital Extension Project. Audra.
Thank you, Chairman Weiss, members of Regional Council. Pleased to be here on behalf of Valley Metro and the City of Phoenix to present alternative light rail preferred alternative, for the Capital Extension Project. Next slide. Just to give you a frame of reference, this is the high capacity transit network for which we have planned in the future. This particular CapEx light rail extensions right here in our core, just a few blocks south of where we are located. Next slide. Just for some history and context, this is an original Proposition 400 project included in the 2003 regional transportation Plan that informed Proposition 400. Originally one project called I-10 Extension. Ultimately and recently in the last few years split into two different projects, originally phase 1 and phase 2, but now Capital Extension and I-10 West. Capital Extension remains and is the last funded project in the Proposition 400 light rail program. I-10 West is one of the many projects that were deferred out of the Proposition 400 program because of the Great Recession. Next slide. One of the reasons the locally preferred alternative was revisited by the City of Phoenix and Valley Metro is in part to accommodate the South Central Light Rail Extension currently under construction today. In this slide, you will see the illustration of the previous LPA in 2012, juxtaposed to the alignment for which you are seeking approval today for the 2021 LPA. Next slide. Amongst other things, this ties better into the South Central alignment, continuing the continuity of the two-street alignment further west from what is east of our core. You'll see traverses to the west on Washington and Adams, coming around on 19th Avenue and heading back east on Jefferson Street. Next slide. These project costs have been recently updated by Valley Metro. This is a project costing just over $531 million. And as is signature with our high capacity transit program here in the region, we have a multitude of fund sources and funding partners to deliver our high capacity transit program. You'll see here the cost sharing with the city of Phoenix, just over 35%. Proposition 400 funding comprising just over 14%. The FTA capital investment grant, almost 50%. This is new funding coming from Washington, D.C. that would otherwise go to other states or regions. And then just under 1% of our CMAQ funding. As is statutory requirement, operations are covered at the local level by the city of Phoenix and Fairbox. And this has a projected open to service date at the end of 2027. Next slide. Regional Council, for your consideration today is this LPA. It is already gone through the approval process, the city of Phoenix and the Valley Metro Board of Directors. This is the final step as is required in the Metropolitan Planning Organization, both from a federal air quality conformity process, as well as to be updated in the RTP itself. The air quality conformity item was heard and was approved by you in today's consent agenda. Next slide. With that, that brings me to our recommended motion of approval of the locally preferred alternative for the Capital Extension Light Rail project and revised open to service date of December 31st, 2027 in the Momentum 50 Regional Transportation Plan, contingent on a finding of air quality conformity. Mr. Chairman, members of Regional Council, that completes my presentation.
Thanks, Audra. Are there members of the committee that have a question? Mayor Gallego, do you have any comments?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. This is an exciting opportunity for our city. Our residents have wanted to see the light rail go to the west, and we think this will also be important for the large number of workers in the area. So we are excited to move forward with this, which is one of the extensions we promised our voters when they extended in our sales tax. So with that, move approval.
I have a motion from Mayor Gallego. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mayor Wilson. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Do you mind doing roll call the online members?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I'll go down the list of members participating virtually. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Crane.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Ambrosio.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Molina.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Osborne.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Ortega.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Schoaf.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Woods. Is there anyone that I missed? Mr. Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Audra. Amy, item number 9, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'd like to invite Amy Epley up to the podium. As she's coming up, we do present the budget to you in incremental stages between January and May of each year. We do that very intentionally because we want you to have every full opportunity to really be able to dig into all of those details and then to help direct not just our spending, but our activities as well. Our aim is to serve you as our member agencies, and we want the budget to reflect your highest priorities. With that, I'd like to turn it now over to Amy Epley.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the MEG Regional Council for the opportunity to present on the development of MEG's draft fiscal year 24 and 25 biennial unified planning work program and budget for information and discussion today. MEG develops the 2-year work program on a biennial basis. The draft budget discussions and presentations begin each year in January with additional budget information being brought to you incrementally as the budget is developed, allowing for thorough discussions and input on the budget through May when it is presented for approval. This month is the overview of the draft dues and assessments and budget development timeline. Next slide, please. In your agenda packets, you will find the attachment A, which is the 24 and 25 draft dues and assessments. The fiscal year 24 draft dues and assessments presented today are based on the July 1st, 2022 population approved by Regional Council in November. The 25 draft dues and assessments are based on the July 1st, 2023 preliminary population estimates. The fiscal year 24 draft dues and assessments reflect the actual 2021 Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers with a percent increase of 4.7%. The fiscal year 25 dues and assessments reflect the 11th month 2022 Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers with a percent increase of 6.1%. And once the final CPU is published, which is later this month and just came out, the numbers will be finalized and presented to you. Next slide, please. Changes to note from fiscal year 22 and 23, we had done a 20% reduction in dues due to the financial constraints imposed by COVID-19. No inflation using the Consumer Price Index was applied to either the 22 or 23 years. For fiscal year 22 and 23, the homeless prevention assessment was applied to all member agencies as requested. It was previously only for the CDBG recipients with a population over 50,000. Next slide. And attachment B is a proposed timeline for the development of the fiscal year 24 and 25 budget unified planning work program. In January, we have the dues and assessments and timeline. In February, we will have the proposed projects. In March and April, we will have the draft budget document. And in May is the final draft budget document for approval. Again, this is on the agenda for information and discussion only, and that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Amy, thank you for that. Are there any members that have questions on this? I think as we get to go further down the line, we get to see the projects. I think there'll probably be more questions at that time, but anyone online? This is just for information and discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, are you doing the legislative update?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Nathan sends his regrets. He is representing us in Washington, D.C. at a national conference, and Eric is unavailable for this meeting. This legislative update is presented for your information. Next slide, please. We've recently updated our 7 federal policy papers. These are available to you. We encourage you to use these if you find these helpful. These cover a range of topics that we've heard are important to you as our member agencies, and these clearly communicate our shared position on these topics. I'd like to thank Noah, Nathan, and the team for their work on these 7 papers. Next slide, please. We look forward to working with Governor Hobbs and the state legislature and the leadership in the Senate and the House. We're actively tracking the legislation and reaching out to leadership as appropriate. Next slide, please. In particular, we very much want to work with the legislature to bring the extension of Proposition 400 to the voters as early as possible. We're working with Chair Farnsworth and providing information to the Senate Transportation and Infrastructure Committee upon their request. And would like to echo the mayor's comments at the beginning of the meeting. Just deeply grateful to John Bullen, Audra Kessler-Thomas, and their team for their intense and prolonged efforts on this critically important topic. Next slide, please. We have analyzed Senate Bill 1122 and are working to address our concerns that are regarding this proposed legislation. In short, this bill would not allow us, as it's currently written, to bring the plan that you approved to the voters. We appreciate your continued support and focus on delivering the regional transportation plan that we've created in partnership with you. Please contact John Bullen and his team for more information regarding this matter. Next slide, please. That concludes the legislative update. Please do reach out to Nathan or any of us with any questions. We appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Amy, thank you. I would ask any members, if you have questions on what you just saw, any questions on Prop 400E and kind of where that's going besides what you saw here, I would ask that you get with Amy and John and Audra and have those conversations offline. There's some things that we're working on. And Governor Hobbs has shown and has committed to signing the enabling legislation if it were to come to her. So that's really a good sign. There's obviously some roadblocks there with the legislature, but I would ask that you get with the team and just see if you have any questions and see if they can answer them. So any comments on besides that on the legislative update? All right. Item 11 is request for future agenda items. Mayor Hartke?
I have none on future agenda items.
Anything?
I was just teeing up for a comment.
Oh, okay. Never mind that. Anyone for future agenda items? Okay. Item number 12 is comments from the committee. Mayor Hartke? Okay, because we're running out of time, we're running out of page here.
I do want to welcome you all in in advance of the Super Bowl to join me and mayors from the East Valley and around, and people from around the state at ASU for what's called a Night of Hope. It is a night to bring awareness and collaboration against sex trafficking. And it will be at ASU Gamage. This will be the 5th annual event. And I know several of us have attended each of those. Again, February 10th at 5 p.m. And the website to register and to find out more information is notinourcity.org, notinourcity.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Wires, any updates you'd like to share with anybody on the Super Bowl or any thoughts?
I can't wait for the game. It's a second time as mayor for me in 7 years. And the fact that, not only my city, but the entire valley, the entire state gets to shine. So everybody work real hard to put on the best event possible. Our public safety has to make certain that we get it 100% right and the bad guys don't get it right at all. At the same time, all of our cities have to give the same level of service that we give each and every day. So it's quite a task. It's very challenging, but I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Gallego, any comments on that too?
We are very much looking forward to hosting the NFL fan experience and concerts, a few other events in downtown Phoenix, and very thankful to our first responders and other folks who are working overtime. And if folks have questions or we can be of help to you, including many of you, I think are hosting economic development contacts, please let us know.
Thank you both for that. Appreciate that. Anybody else from the committee? That being